All right, so there's been a lot of movement this week on pull requests, partially because our Stalebot's now automatically closing stuff. So a whole bunch of old PRs got closed. Um, I don't know if that anyone here had anything closed right now. Braddock had a bunch of stuff closed, it looks like. But Adam, I think yours survived it because you've been periodically updating yours. So I think you're in good shape. Um, all right, let's see. So this week for new PRs, we've got one from Igor for RocksDB prefetch in buffered read mode. Igor, did you want to give a quick update on that?
Well, originally we had an issue in very long enumeration of maps under some conditions. I implemented BlueFS read ahead on my own, and then we realized that new RocksDB embedded in Nautilus has its own read ahead, and I tried to, well, I verified how it works, and it appeared that actually no read ahead is happening. And I did some investigation, which showed that we need to implement a prefetch method in BlueRock's environment, and hence I made that. Well, but no, I observed no much difference comparing to my pull request, so they are pretty on par. The only thing that I need to investigate a bit more, it's direct IO mode in RocksDB, because this patch is for buffered read mode only. So, well, that's it.
Cool, thanks. Um, oh, Igor, I did want to ask you. We've talked periodically about updating RocksDB for the iterator read ahead support. Have you tested that at all?
Well, actually, that's what this patch about. It's read ahead for with map enumeration and hence iterator
So,
stuff.
but don't we need to update RocksDB to get that, right?
Well, I am not completely sure that what's the implementation for read ahead in Luminous and Mimic, but well, in Nautilus we have read ahead implemented in RocksDB, but it doesn't work because we lack this prefetch method. So I'm not sure if we need. Well, I'm not sure what happens in Luminous and Mimic implementation of RocksDB if they have read ahead for RocksDB at all.
This is I linked in the chat this is I think automatic iterator read ahead is available starting in 5.12 for buffered IO and 5.15 for direct IO. So is this different than what you're talking about, or is this same thing?
The same thing, yeah.
Same thing. Okay. Okay. So at least for older, I'm pretty positive for Luminous and Mimic. At least we'll need to upgrade RocksDB to get this. I don't know. I don't remember for Nautilus if we upgraded RocksDB sufficiently or not.
Yeah, and well, alternative approach is to use my patch implementing BlueFS read ahead. Well, right now I observe pretty the same numbers.
Okay. Okay.
But it's more lightweight to backport.
Sure, sure. All right, cool. Um, all right, so there's a cleanup PR here from Ma Peng. I don't actually know how much that affects performance, but it was listed as with a performance tag, so I included it. Um, there's some ongoing discussion here about introducing execution stage in Crimson OSD. Sam, I saw you commented on that. Radek's not here, but did you have any thoughts on the discussion? I'm not sure if you're trying to talk or not, but we can't hear you. I see your mic's unmuted. All right, move on. Let's see. So I've got a PR that I submitted. I mentioned. Oh, Sam, are you here?
Sorry about that.
No
Can you hear
worries.
me now?
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's just a question we're looking into, or rather that Bretislav is looking into, about whether the increased instruction cache locality is better or not. I haven't seen his most recent comment, but it seems to be a basic trade-off between throughput and a little bit of additional latency because you have to batch them up a little bit. Yeah.
sure. Cool. Okay, so yeah, last week I think I showed some numbers about avoiding double caching of Bluestar O nodes in the Bluestar O node cache and Roxy B block cache. So this is the PR that actually makes that happen. Uh, so probably no need to revisit that, but hopefully we can get it merged soonish. There's another one here for Luminous about avoiding the OSD consume math race with subrep redop. Yeah, I don't know anything about that, but I guess theoretically it's performance related. Um, bunch of close stuff. Stage merged this. Check UTF-8 optimization. I think that came from the Crimson guys, or Crimson, sorry, the CSAR guys. Um, everything else here was closed by Stalebot. It was just old stuff. So probably Radek is the one that needs to look through to make sure there's nothing in here he really wants to keep. But yeah. Okay, updated. Sam, you reviewed this EC Stripe cache thing. I think, if I remember right, the author was confused about your comments. More Crimson updates. Lots of discussion on various things. Um, there's a couple of different RBD PRs that Jason wants to, I think, have kind of reviewed again now that the write around cache has been implemented. Specifically, this one about kind of trying to make the existing write back cache more multi-threaded. So yeah, I think those probably are not necessarily as relevant now. And then Adam, I saw there were new commits on your two PRs here. Any is it still kind of the slow march forward?
I did a major refactoring, and I have got through adapting one of the RGW services, and now I'm just making the other RGW services work together with it.
Cool. Well, that sounds
Then we
helpful.
have the long, slow slog of debugging, or maybe we'll get lucky and it'll just be the long, slow slog of trying to get it to run through Toothology, and it'll work, and then we'll be done with it. We'll see.
Sure. Or you could have one of
So
those moments where like everything just works and you're terrified because nothing went wrong.
The worst ones of those are when everything doesn't work and then suddenly they start.
Casey, you were you gonna
so
chime in?
what's the minimum that we need to merge iObject? Do you want to
Hmm.
explore the RGW integration in case we need to change interfaces, or is the objector stuff ready to test and merge?
I mean, it's ready to test and merge, but I'd rather, I mean, it's been tested and had some bug fixes to it. But since I've already had to make a couple tweaks just to merge it with RGW so far, I'd rather just make sure I have a working RGW first. Basically, I'd rather make sure the interface has that someone consuming the interface is in the code base before we merge the interface.
This is the Rados Unleashed interface.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, potentially we could merge the objector stuff without that and treat the new interface as kind of a RGW thing to start.
Yeah, that's possible. Although I'm not really sure if we get too much benefit
I mean,
from the objector
how much
stuff minus.
how much time does it lag? I mean, if is it merged next week or so, if nothing goes wrong with the testing that Adam you're doing now.
I mean, I'm expecting that I'm going to get done with the RGW part pretty soon. So once we get that through testing, that should, be able to make everything go in a big chunk.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I don't think it should matter if it in general if it merges.
In general, as I've mentioned
But I
before,
mean,
I plan to make some changes to the interface anyway, but I can always make changes to it after it gets merged in. Like once Jason Dillerman's commit
well,
goes through.
in principle, what you just said is before you said earlier that there should be a consumer that works, whether it's in the code base or not. I think is sound. So it shouldn't really merge until you're finished debugging the one client that currently exists, so that when it goes in, someone could immediately, in theory, use it and it's legit.
Yeah, that's basically what I was thinking.
Seeing how to argue successfully against that.
All right. So only other updated PR I've got here is that Sage really doesn't want to lose the work that Adam, the other Adam, had done on age testing of the different Blue Store allocators. So I think he's hoping that maybe Adam can take some of that work and turn it into like a unit test, just so that we can go back and retest that stuff easily again in the future. Let's see. Lots of no movement, but many fewer than there were previously. The one I'm still very interested in is the IOU ring PR that's here. I think I may try to get a 5.1 kernel installed in one of the Inserta nodes so I can try this, because the results look pretty inspiring. I did happen. I'll warn everyone that Jens put out an April Fool's joke where he said that he was going to remove libIO from the kernel in favor of uring in 5.1, and it took me about 5 minutes before I realized it was an April Fool's joke. So there are some people out there that are getting nervous about this, but I don't think it's real. All right, let's see. Yeah, various other things in here. Nothing I think that has a whole lot of movement on it right now. All right, so the only thing I really have to mention is that Adam has been continuing to work on looking at TRoxDB, and he's still not necessarily getting like super high levels of performance or anything out of it. I think it's pretty similar to what we're seeing with RocksDB, but he has verified that the write amplification is way lower. So we're writing much less data out to the DB devices, which is really good, I think, because I've been seeing more and more hardware configurations coming out where people are sticking the DB on NVMe drives or SSDs that have very low drive or drive writes per day durability. So he did mention that it's hitting the block device, that we're not keeping all the data on the DB partition in a way that he would have expected. So he's looking into that to try to figure out why. I don't know if it's just a temporary expansion of space amplification that's needed, or what is going on exactly. But he's trying to figure it out. So that might actually improve performance too down the road. We'll see. And that's basically it. That's all I've got. Does anyone have anything they'd like to talk about this week?
Dumb question. The Trox DB, is that something that we just that a site would, or that we would just turn on after the fact, or is it a compile in for us if we were to use it?
It's a compile in, and there are some kind of minimal but important changes that are made in the build process. So it's not 100% drop in with existing RocksDB. My hope is that if this pans out and it's really, really useful for us, maybe we can go back to the RocksDB guys and to the Toshiba guys and say, let's get this in RocksDB itself. This is crazy having a totally separate distribution for this. Let's see if we can get it integrated. But I don't know if that's likely to happen or not. So yeah, I think that's where we're at on it. Anything else, guys?
I've got a quick question. I'm chasing a issue around app performance that uses S3, and Abhishek found PR 27697, which is a CLS bucket list unword list. We're trying to figure out if that's going to affect general list performance on a
No.
RGW call.
You would have to select use unordered equals true, but it affects performance of GC. We found because we had enabled it there.
Okay. Thanks.
It can also show up in bucket deletion, where we have to check that the bucket is empty. In cases where the bucket has a lot of shards, it makes a big difference.
Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, that's not going to help us.
It's a holler. You want it, but
yeah, the problem we're chasing, the vendor software does a list after every delete operation, and that's where all the time is spent. So ridiculous. Thanks, guys.
Is that something that happens commonly where people are doing something like that, or I don't actually know how people use S3. Is that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just
there are oddities where people do lots more listing for various things, but I've never heard of that.
Yeah, this is their software can be optimized, and I've already made that recommendation back to them.
Okay. All right. Well, unless anyone has anything else, let's wrap it up this week. Going once. Going twice. All right. Have a good week, everyone.
Thank you, gentlemen, and anyone else.
See ya.